Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking play. My name is Jesse Hill, and I'm the president of Tier 3 IT Solutions. Today, I wanted to take you through assessing a phishing email that I received. I want to show you a little bit how it works and help you understand a couple of things that you can look for to protect yourself online. So the first thing I want to do is I want to point you to a blog that we have talking about the SLAM method, which stands for senders, links, attachment, message. Every time you get an email and you're unsure whether it's legit, run through those four, and it's a pretty good starting point to figure out if the email is legitimate or not. So the email in question is this one over here. We see it appears the sender is Tier 3 IT, and then for some reason it says message delivery. Right away, we look at that, we go, that's a little bit unusual. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to preview it in Outlook. And it brings the sender over here, and I can see right away that it's actually sending from Yasmin Karasat at inray.fr. Now, one of the things that I like about Outlook is if I hover my mouse over the sender, it actually expands, tells me a little bit more information. And in particular, here it shows me other emails that I've exchanged or not with this person. And I can see there's only one email. I immediately recognize that from the SLAM method, I don't recognize Yasmin, doesn't match the Tier 3 IT sender name. The inray.fr is a French or a domain from France, much like .ca would be from Canada. So right away, we recognize that this is, not a legitimate email. Not everybody takes the time to actually look at the senders like that, though. And so sometimes we have to move on to the next part, which is L for links. Now, when we look at this particular email, it appears to be a notification from Microsoft, the portal. You'll notice that my Outlook is showing in dark mode, meaning everything else is black, but the message itself is white. So that's immediately a first indicator to me that when I move my mouse over it, you'll see it switches from the cursor to the little hand, because technically this entire white area is an image that has been turned into a link. Again, from a phishing perspective, if this was a legitimate email, as an example, if I go to this AMA rewards one, my cursor doesn't switch to that hand unless I'm actually going over something that would be a link. So again, second red flag on this particular message, that the link is kind of weird. A stands for attachment. There is no attachment, so we don't have to worry about assessing whether there's a risk in downloading or opening or running an attachment. And then the M is for message. Now, in message, what we're doing is we're looking for things like spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes, improper, language or introductions. And, we recognize on this one, what they've done is they've, taken a snippet so that they don't make those mistakes. Again, we would recognize a red flag on this because the message is an image and not text. So all of that aside, what I want to do is I'm actually just going to open this separately, and I'm going to copy the link that it's trying to send us to. Because if you notice, when I hover my mouse, it shows me down in the bottom left that it's trying to take me to m.exacttag.com and then a whole bunch of other things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this link. I have a Windows sandbox environment up and running here, which is basically a safe place for me to go and paste this link. Now, we should recognize immediately that if it was a legitimate Microsoft email, it should be sending us to Microsoft.com. But it's not, it's sending us to exacttag.com. Now, when I press enter, it's of course going to reach out and load that page. And we notice right away it's taken us to woosprissy.tech. It's trying to make it look very legitimate. It's got this reCAPTCHA here that I need to click on to make it believe that I'm not a robot. And when I do that, what it's done is it's captured my email address because it knew where I clicked from. And then what it's doing is it's bringing up what appears to be a Microsoft 365 login. And this is really interesting and important because I want to point out that it brought in our logo, it pulled my email address, and all it's doing is it's asking me for my password. The way that it has done this is, if I was to go to a generic login.microsoftonline.com page and take a look at how that displays, you would notice it starts off with the Microsoft logo and it asks me what my email address is. As soon as I enter my email address, Microsoft goes, "Oh, you have a corporate account that's been set up with your branding." All this phishing attack has done is it has actually taken my email address, passed it to Microsoft, and then captured and recreated that same login page. And we can see there are subtle differences. The Microsoft one has a bit of a colorful background. The phishing one doesn't. But by and large, almost identical. What I do notice is, again, when I look up in the address bar, it's not Microsoft.com, whereas the legitimate page is login.microsoftonline.com. Now, what's going to happen is if I enter anything into here, enter the most insecure password that we can. When we hit sign in, it's going to pretend that it's going to log me in, and it should then kick back an error message telling me that it was unable to, or something to that effect. The whole purpose of this web page that I'm looking at right now is they are trying to capture my actual password. Because if they can capture my password to my email, then they have the opportunity to try to actually log in. Now, what would happen in a lot of cases here, if I entered a legitimate password, is it might actually prompt me for my two-factor authentication code, which then is how they're going to intercept that token. So, a couple of things we learned on this email here today. We've got to take care when we are looking at an email. Use that SLAM technique. Sender, link, attachment, message. When we open, when we click on a link, we need to verify the domain. If we're going to enter a password into a login, we really need to be certain that that is a legitimate page. We talk a lot about good password hygiene, and one of the things that we recommend is using a password manager. One of the reasons that a password manager is a really powerful tool is that it will autofill long, complex, unique passwords into your web page logins for you. And the reason this is powerful is that it actually verifies the domain, and it would not recognize this as a Microsoft domain, and it would not enter that login for you. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it points you and gives you a little bit of information about how some of these phishing scams work, what they're looking for, and how you can protect yourself. Stay safe online. Let us know if you have any questions or comments. Thanks a lot. We'll talk soon.